Hey everybody, welcome to Is This Thing Working? Wednesday morning, here we go. How you doing, Denise?
I am doing awesome. I am glad to be here today on this Wednesday. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Hey, at least we remembered what day it is this week. Remember last week we credited Wednesday a couple different days.
Yeah, we did. I had the hardest time keeping up with the date. The funny thing is, I asked James this morning, and it was kind of a joke, but I was like, is today Wednesday? Because by Wednesday or Thursday, I'm like, what day is it?
Yep.
So,
exactly.
They're so long lately,
Exactly.
it seems. Now that the sun is out longer, we're like busy all the way till dark. Even later, so it's fun. We're enjoying it. But we got a big show for you today. But before we start the show, can you please do us a favor and share the show with all your friends? Also, stomp on that like button and please follow or subscribe wherever you see our name. Is This Thing Working? You're helping us grow, and we thank you for doing that for us. We put you in the room. We love it.
Yep.
Thank you for showing up every day and listening.
And because we haven't said it in quite a while, we put you in the room. Why? Because we want you to be informed, and we want to encourage you to become engaged.
That's right. And rise up. That's how we end the show every day. Because we want you to rise up. And we hope you listen all the way to the end. Because we have important information we give you every single day. But we're going to start with Taiwan. Everybody hear what happened in Taiwan yesterday?
Yeah, major earthquake.
Yeah, man. Taiwan's strongest earthquake in 25 years. Man. So far, they have found 9 that have passed away. It's pretty sad. But it left dozens trapped in a pair of coal mines and damaged roads and buildings. The quake, which was centered about 11 miles south of the city of Hualien, struck just before 8 a.m. local time with a preliminary magnitude of 7.4, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Man, that's big.
Yeah, that was big. Do you remember back in I guess it was the 90s, during the World Series in San Francisco when they had the earthquake hit right then? I think that was like a 7, and it tore a lot of stuff up.
Roads.
Yeah, it did. It damaged a lot of stuff. So
they just fell.
Yeah, 7.4 is a big thing, man.
It is big. Over 900 people have been injured, and authorities said that more than 24 apartment towers, houses, and other buildings were severely damaged, including some that collapsed. They said that more than 130 people were trapped, including 70 who are stuck in 2 coal mines in Hualien. I can't say this word.
I don't know.
I've been trying real good.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try.
I think I said it right the first time, but for some reason I've lost it.
Yeah, I haven't heard any other, commentators or, anybody saying the name, so I ain't even going to try it yet. Yeah. But it does say here, too, that with the damage that went on, man, a lot of the buildings, they had busted water pipes, they had loss of electricity, and those were near the epicenter. They say it caused the collapse of a roadway also linking the city to other cities to the north and forced several rail lines to pause operations. So, yeah, that thing
was pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Japan was under a tsunami warning all of last night, but I believe it's been downgraded to a watch. I believe the waves are only getting up to 3 feet at this point. So we just wanted to update you on that. So keep those people in your prayers.
Yep. Our show would be remiss if we didn't talk about the border.
That's it. We have to talk about the border at least once a day.
So Abbott's got a deadly warning for Texas squatters. If we remember last week, the illegal border crosser that got on TikTok and claimed he was and threatened everybody and said he knew a way to go squat and he was going to go squat. Remember, I talked about that. We talked about that.
And a lot of Texans stood up and says, "Don't come here. We have guns and we protect our properties and all that kind of stuff." Well, Governor Abbott did come out.
Yep, he come out with a pretty fierce warning too. He says this: in Texas, anyone squatting in your home is breaking the law. They're criminals violating Texas law like criminal trespass and criminal mischief. And here's the kicker, and this is what I brought up the other day because I even said it.
Yes, you did.
Also, the Texas Castle Doctrine empowers Texans to use force to defend themselves and their property, he added. And it said Abbott's post comes amid the growing conversation surrounding squatters' rights compared to the rights of the property owners throughout the U.S. And in recent weeks, several states have seen incidents involving homeowners' attempts to remove squatters from their property. The American Apartment Owners Association defines a squatter as an individual who inhabits a piece of land or property despite having no legal authority to do so. A squatter lives in a building or on a property without paying rent and without lawful documentation stating they own property. Isn't that a sweet little definition of a squatter? Isn't that real nice and politically correct? You know what a squatter is? He's a criminal. He's trespassing on my land, and if he does not remove himself from inside of my home, and especially if he begins to threaten me and makes me feel as though I'm in danger, I got the right to remove him any way I have to.
That's exactly right.
And I don't think he understood that when he first come to the country. I'm glad that they found him and they've arrested him, and I hope that he's on his way back to whatever shithole he came from.
Yeah.
To use a word from President Trump, whatever shithole he came from.
Well, you know, they said this morning, I heard somewhere that New York just arrested squatters with guns and like drugs and money, a lot of money.
But then, but then the New York justice system turns right around and puts them right back out on the street.
That's exactly what happens. Yeah. And that's why they can get away with this, why they can continue to squat in these people's homes. And, you know, y'all know Karine Jean, I don't know how to say her name.
Karine Jean-Pierre.
Karine Jean-Pierre. She, you know, I don't ever think anything that she says is correct. But on Monday, she said that squatting was a local issue and that it is critical that local governments take action to address it. 100% agree.
Yeah, I do too.
This is a local issue, and you need to do something about people taking over people's homes. But I tell you what, New York City, they're not going to do that because they've asked these people over and over to share your homes with these immigrants.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is their form of sharing homes by letting them squat.
Yep. And the president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers and a former federal prosecutor named Naima Rahmani, she told Newsweek on Monday that lawmakers around the nation need to increase penalties against squatters and expedite evictions. She says laws that protect lawful tenants shouldn't be used to protect people that never had a legal right to be on the property in the first place. Squatters should be evicted, then jailed if they break into a home and stay there because they provide a fake lease or other fraudulent documentation.
Yeah, that's illegal.
I couldn't agree. And see, this is the crazy thing about the world we're living in nowadays. What she just said is a common sense thing. I mean,
yes,
this should be understood without ever having to even make this a law.
I agree.
If this is my home and you come into it and I want you out of my home because you don't belong there, there shouldn't be a law. Why do I have to have a law to protect me? I'm glad that I do, but I shouldn't have to, man.
I know. To protect our own stuff. You know, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis has announced new legislation to combat the squatting. So people are starting to step up and realize that this has become a really huge problem. You know, and you know what? And it's because we don't have room for all these illegal migrants. We just don't have room. And so now they're taking over people's homes, you know, and living on the street and living in high-rise, you know, free rent. We've discussed all this.
And not only...
We just don't have room.
Well, and they can't afford it anyway.
And they can't.
That's the thing we talked about yesterday was the fact of how housing has doubled. You know, it's up 46%.
And you see why these landlords have to charge an exorbitant rate because they come in and they tear up their houses.
Funny thing, and we can move on after this, I guess, is I've seen a headline and I read the article of a story. In Waco, they're announcing that they're fixing to open up, they're fixing to begin a building project and a development of 1,887 new homes.
Yes.
And the people, you know, they put this on the Waco Tribune like it was some great deal. We ought to applaud this. And all the comments were just dogging them over it, man. You know, and then I look this morning as I'm scrolling through again, I come back across that post with that article in it, and all the comments were gone. So Waco Tribune sat there and deleted every comment. Just put the article back out here again.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean,
and people weren't.
Well, the government's giving them money for these low rent housing.
Yeah, and the comments weren't, well, you know, they're illegal, they don't belong here, what yada yada. That wasn't really the issue in the comments. What they're talking about, like we've always talked about, the smart things. It's a strain on your resources, your natural resources. It's a strain on your infrastructure because you can't get enough police force. You know, you're going to have to get water development out there. You're going to have to get energy development out there. All of these things, these are all going to be a strain upon the residents that are there. And then again, other people brought that up. Why don't you work toward putting people in the homes that are already out here for sale? There's already homes for sale out here all over because people can't afford them.
That's right.
You know?
So they want to make new homes for them to also not afford, but make them lower than the rental homes but it's what, $5 lower or something.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And really, to me, it's just a money grab. And Waco, why are you taking money from the government to do this?
Well, and
I don't get that.
Yeah. And one other person said that too. They said every acre of land does not need to be developed. Sometimes just let things be.
That
I
right
get
there.
it.
Yes.
Yeah,
man.
I get it. But let's move on.
We're going to move on because we have this thing going on here in Texas. Also, since we're going to stay in Texas for a second, the largest fresh egg producer in the U.S. has found bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant. Wow. And it has stopped production at a plant in the Texas Panhandle after bird flu was found in the flock. Man.
Yeah, this is ABC News. It says the largest producer of fresh eggs in the U.S. said Tuesday it had temporarily halted production at a Texas plant after bird flu was found in chickens, and officials said the virus had also been detected at a poultry facility in Michigan. Also, there was also another story of cattle having avian flu detected in them too.
Yes. Yeah.
At a dairy farm. Yeah.
Yeah, and in Richland, Mississippi, based Cal-Maine Foods, Inc. said in a statement that approximately 1.6 million laying hens and 337,000 pullets, about 3.6% of its total flock, were destroyed after the infection, avian flu, was found at a facility in Palmer County, Texas. The plant is on the Texas-Mexico border in the Texas Panhandle, about 85 miles southwest of Amarillo. Anyway, the plant is in Amarillo. What I really wanted to say about this is just another thing that messes with our food supply. It's just absolutely devastating. I guess they test the birds regularly.
Sure. And think about this: a hen's going to lay an egg a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's 1.6 million eggs per day that we're losing. They say, that's only 3.6% of their production, but that's 1.6 million eggs per day you're losing.
Yes, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Eggs already are high. Now they're going to go up, way up.
Yeah.
So everyone, we have chickens. I'm very thankful that we have chickens. I haven't bought an egg from a grocery store in at least a year.
Yeah.
And I love every minute of it. So this is what we need to be doing.
And the thing to remember with this is, just like with, I mentioned the cattle also that they've detected this in, it says that this comes a day after health officials said a person had been diagnosed with bird flu after being in contact with cows presumed to be infected, and that the risk to the public remains low. The human case in Texas marks the first known instance globally of a person catching this version of the bird flu from a mammal. Okay.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I did hear that the Biden administration is going to meet with the leaders of the agriculture and
USDA,
and talk about the avian flu.
FDA too.
Yeah. They're all going to meet and
CDC.
Everything.
Yeah.
So obviously they're expecting a pandemic.
Well,
or maybe they're just going to talk about what to do about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. We never know. They're not very transparent, But anyway, you need to know about that because that's very important. That's going to affect your life. It sure is. So we're going to start with President Trump here, actually.
Yeah.
Because he had a big day yesterday.
And he had a response to the Transgender Invisibility Day.
Yes, he
finally
did.
had a response to it.
Finally did.
And he come out in typical Trump fashion with it.
Yeah, he did. He was pretty funny. Here he goes. Trump says November 5th will be Christian Invisibility Day.
And what the hell was Biden thinking when he declared Easter Sunday to be Trans Visibility Day? Such total disrespect to Christians, and November 5th is going to be called something else. You know what it's going to be called? Christian Visibility Day, when Christians turn out in numbers that nobody has ever seen before. Let's call it Christian Visibility Day, all right?
You know, this is true, though. What's going to happen? And the Christians are standing up for President Trump because, you know, President Trump has their back. But what I saw this morning, okay, so I've been hearing since Easter, the mainstream media has seen what a backlash that Trans Visibility Day really brought about on Easter Sunday. And so then you had Mika and all them on NBC. All of a sudden, they found Jesus. All of a sudden, Biden found Jesus.
They begin to.
I seen this morning a video of them coming out with this new ad that totally God has chosen Biden. Now, can you believe this? I mean, President Trump has all the Christians behind him, and they realize that they're going to lose on this issue right here.
This is the face of evil.
It is the face of evil.
It is.
It really is. You know, so, but President Trump, he's always on top of it. I also wanted to tell you about his poll numbers. New poll numbers come out. Trump is leading Biden in 6 swing states. With or without JFK, they said. I don't know why they think RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr. Anyway, I don't know why they think that he matters in the conservative space. Do you think he matters?
RFK?
Yeah.
In the sense that he's going to take votes from Joe Biden, he's not going to take votes from President Trump.
No.
You know,
I don't
so
believe
in
so
that
either.
sense, I believe he is important.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I think he's very important. I
Yeah.
think he's very important, you know, to take votes away from Biden, but I don't think he's even going to like mesh with anybody. He's too progressive, you know, for conservatives. Now, if these rhinos have decided that that's who they are, then go for it, because they're not going to vote for Trump anyway.
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, that's the same thing with Haley. Well, they're going to take Haley voters. Well, good, go ahead, because those people weren't going to vote for Trump anyway, and they're Democrat. Half of them were anyway.
Exactly.
You know, so President Trump's doing good.
Here the polls are in those states. He leads 101 in Arizona at 47% to 42%. He leads in Georgia at 44% to 43%. He leads in Michigan by 3 percentage points. And North Carolina, he's leading by as much as 6 percentage points at 49 to 43. Nevada's a big margin at 4%. So is Pennsylvania at 3%. And it says that he and Biden draw even at 46% in Wisconsin, which he won Wisconsin last night.
Yes, he did. That's where we were going next with that one, because Trump won primaries in Wisconsin, Delaware, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New York yesterday. So that was real interesting to watch. We all knew he would win because he's already got the nomination. So we haven't really been pushing it. But we really need to watch these, because Wisconsin had referendums on the ballot, and it was real important questions. Okay, so I wanted to talk about their questions real quick. One of them was they wanted to prohibit the state or local governments from applying for, accepting, expending, or using non-government funds or equipment to assist with carrying out any primary election or referendum. The people of Wisconsin said yes to prohibit the private funding in these. In which, for example, no Zuckerbucks in Wisconsin. This is 100% great. The people stood up. So I'm just going to tell you, whereas they say that President Trump is even with Biden in Wisconsin, I believe that poll is wrong 100%, or this would not have happened.
Exactly.
Because I'm telling you, conservatives stood up. I'm telling you, this is something that they fought for.
Yep, this is big.
This is really big. And they also voted yes to prohibit individuals from performing tasks related to an election unless they are an election official designated by law. So you just can't bring your sister or your mate, your partner, or anybody in to help.
You can't organize an NGO to come in there and handle the elections in an area where you can't get enough volunteers to conduct the polling place, to conduct the business of the polling place for that day too.
Yeah, you can't do that no more in Wisconsin. So yay, we give.
I don't know that that's happened,
Wisconsin,
but that's pretty much a lot
actually
of
that
what
has happened. That's happened in the
it?
2020 election.
Okay, then
yes,
that
was all the ballot harvesting. That's what they went and did with the NGOs helped. And
right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
That was a big deal in the 2020 election, and it was illegal. And why you should have to make a law. You know, common sense tells you that you need to have election officials designated by law. Everyone, we do in Texas.
There again, we're going back to having to make laws for common sense things that should be understood.
Yes.
And if you're looking to do things with integrity and honesty, these are common sense, unwritten rules that you know.
Yes.
It's nuts.
Well, that's just like here, like what we're fixing to discuss with Trump's lawfare. You know, they continually want to keep him off of the campaign trail. You know, the fact that they're, constantly putting them in courtrooms and having them on their, constant lawfare on their freaking medias, all the time. It's Trump, derangement syndrome, But, they're giving him free advertising. I will say this. He gets free advertising. And you know what? We watch him. People watch him. People spread it everywhere.
Yep.
President Trump has the most free advertising ever. And he's going to go, sure, MSNBC, go ahead. And this is what they're trying to do next. Let's just see here. MSNBC panel suggests SEC should wage lawfare campaign against Trump for true social stock boom.
So MSNBC is promoting fascism.
Yes.
Openly promoting fascism, calling on the government to be fascist. Hilarious.
Trump's True Social app went public on March 25th. If anyone didn't know, we all knew it was the same day that he handed over his $175 million bond. With the company's valuation reaching $13 billion, according to the Financial Times. The stock lost $4 billion in value on Tuesday, according to CBS News. Still, MSNBC seemingly had a meltdown that the current lawfare campaign against Trump has yet to be fruitful, and that Trump making money off his app would benefit him in the election. The panel appeared to insinuate the SEC should try and kneecap the former president by launching its own investigation. What the heck?
Okay. Go to the next lawfare story that we have, because it kind of plays right along with this.
It
because
does.
What's Bongino saying? He's been saying this a lot here lately. If you're going to beat them, play their game.
That's exactly right.
Beat them at their game.
That's right.
Which is what you got to do, which is lawfare. So look at how things are going with the Fannie Willis in Georgia case and her going after him for saying the 2020 election was stolen. Look, all of a sudden now we turn up 147,000 ballots.
Yes.
We
talked about that yesterday.
Here we go. Trump's using lawfare, and he's beginning to win there.
Yes.
He's beginning to win in New York.
So many things are coming out right now, and it's all behind the scenes. If you watch the Jeff Clark thing that's going on, it's very important. You really need to be paying attention to that.
And a lot of these things the media won't bring out.
And they won't bring out. So you have to hunt for it, I realize. But the Judge Merchan in New York, the Stormy Daniels hush money case that Trump is fighting back on that case. And I good for him, because we're getting tired of being told to shut up.
Exactly. Go back and think about what MSNBC just talked about. The SEC should go after Trump for making money. But then Judge Merchan's daughter was basically doing the same thing, correct?
Yes.
Yes, she
was making money off of Trump.
Yep. So going back to what Bongino says about play their game, beat them at their own game, Here we go. On Tuesday, President Trump found a way around this gag order that was placed on him by Judge Merchan. And so he decides to attack the daughter in a legal filing instead. He says she is making money through campaign advocacy for President Trump's opponent, is what the filing says. The MSN article goes on to say, in a new filing, Trump's lawyers demanded that the judge recuse himself, Judge Merchan, that the judge recused himself from the case, which is scheduled to begin jury selection in Manhattan on April the 15th. Their reason for the recusal? Lauren Mershon's work on behalf of such A-list Democrats as Joe Biden and Kamala Harris creates a conflict of interest for her father, the judge. This is what the defense argues. The letter goes on to say the daughter, through her left-leaning political consultancy, Authentic Campaigns, is making money off Trump's legal travails. And her father, the judge, they argued, is somehow complicit. Best point in it right here. Authentic has received millions of dollars in disbursements from entities associated with President Trump's political rivals since the indictment was returned. Some of those funds were paid to Authentic by entities associated with legislators and PACs that have used email and or social media to solicit contributions specifically based on this case. Thus, there is strong evidence that Authentic has used this case to make money, the letter argued. There is an unacceptable risk that the court's family relationships will influence judicial conduct.
Why, sure.
Boom.
Boom. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. That's the way you fight them now. Look at what they're out here trying to scream. MSNBC screaming the SEC ought to go after him because his Truth Social is making money. No, it's not. It lost $4 billion. The very next day it lost $4 billion.
And the thing about it is it was probably the Democrat Party that did the, making the freaking
and if they brought
stock
this
bigger.
And if they brought this case against Trump, it would be absurd. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
It would be completely absurd.
Yes, it would. But they would still do it because they don't care about absurdity.
That's exactly right. And they don't care if they ever won it. If that case really did go to court, could a jury sit there, an honest jury, sit there and look at that and go, well, you say he's making money off of it, but he lost $4 billion the very next day on it. He's not making money. So the case would never be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it would never.
He would never end in a conviction or a judgment against him.
All they want to do is keep him off the campaign trail and to lawfare him with money.
Exactly.
Take all of his money.
So that's what his lawyers are beginning to do now. Do you think they could win this case against this? That would be a hard case to argue, would it? Would it not? It kind of would. And I'm just saying that. It kind of would be a hard case to argue.
It would be a horrible. I mean, I don't see that they could argue it.
Right. But that's not the point. Who cares if you can win it or not? Tie them up.
That's it. Tie them up. Keep them busy.
That's exactly correct. That's exactly how we have to approach this, man.
They're doing the same thing with you. You know what I mean? It's constant. For example, last night, Jack Smith finally put out his ruling or his, answer to Judge Cannon, wanting to know about the instructions for the jury. So Julie Kelly comes out and gives us the deets. She says, reading Jack Smith's response on jury instructions, and it's clear that the gloves are off between the DOJ and Judge Cannon. One defense attorney just told me, the tone Smith is taking with Cannon is no longer persuasion, but outright threats. Unheard of dynamic between the DOJ and the bench. But Jack Smith's response is hysterical, and not in a funny way, but in a desperate way, because he knows he has little control over decisions related to final jury instructions, and he is arguing the basis of Trump's unauthorized possession of national defense material, which rests on Obama's executive order, not the Presidential Records Act. Now, this right here is so important for you to get. So it turns out that instead of the Presidential Records Act, which is what President Trump keeps referring to, they're using Obama's executive order. Can you believe that?
With these guys, yes. Well, Jack Smith never had a reputation for being solid anyway.
It's all crazy to me. So everyone who cried for months that Trump broke the PRA, which is the Presidential Records Act,
right,
can sit down. Jack Smith says PRA now has nothing to do with the case. All of a sudden, he's just turned around, and now it's all because of an Obama executive order. Also, reminder of the bait and switch here. NARA sought files based on the claims Trump was violating the PRA. He produced 15 boxes of papers. NARA then claimed they found records with classified markings and sent a criminal referral, first time ever, to FBI. FBI promptly opened investigation. FBI sent a subpoena to Trump in May 2022 seeking more records with classified markings, then turned over 38 more files. This is all under the Presidential Records Act. Then in August, FBI sought search warrants seeking national defense information. Reminder too, we have not seen full unredacted application for warrant. Did DOJ seek the warrant under the PRA or the Espionage Act or Obama's executive order or what?
Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. You know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.